What's up, Victoria? It's me, Victoria, and happy MESSMAS. I'm not counting the days, so I don't know when you're seeing this in December, but I'm filming this in November. Today, what I want to do with you is to go through my favorite makeup products and apply them all to my face. So we're doing a full face of my favorite makeup. If you happen to be new to my channel, hi, welcome. I'm so happy that you are here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. What I like to do here is to be thoughtful of my makeup collection and makeup purchasing. So, you know, kind of like a conscious consumption situation. So if that sounds good to you, I would love for you to subscribe. Make sure you like and hype this video before you move along in the video. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships. Those are linked down below. Check it out if you're into that sort of thing. No worries if you're not. And I will also have a pinned comment that will have links to support people who need your help. If you have money to support those people, please do so. I'm not sure if I've done it every year since I started my channel, but I'm fairly certain I have. And what this is to do is to check in on what my favorite makeup is. If I did a full face of my favorite makeup. Sometimes, and this is going to be something that you're going to notice throughout this video, sometimes my favorite makeup is not the makeup that I use the most. So we're gonna do like a full glam situation on my face today. So I'm excited to do it with you. We have some newcomers, we have some old faves. So it's a nice healthy combination of new and old, and I'm excited about it. So let's just get into it. We're gonna start with lip prep today. And last year I talked about the City Lips Lip Plumper, which I really loved, and I had the clear version. Now I had a backup of that was like in a nudie pink color that I tried to use for a while, but I didn't like the colorful one as much. I just much preferred using the clear one. I didn't re-up on it, and I have really fallen in love with using this. This is from EADEM. This is their lip Chouchou, and I have it in the shade Boba Bounce. I would probably in the future just get the clear version of this. I do like the color of Boba Bounce. There is gentle exfoliation in this, so this isn't a lip balm that I would use like all day, every day, although I do find it quite nourishing. But that light exfoliation before I put on a lip product in a video, or just leaving this on while I get ready and wiping it off, really just, I feel like, makes my lips look really good and ready for lip products. They did send this to me in PR, and they've also sent me another one in PR. This is what the applicator looks like. It is just this nice metal tip. It's nice and weighty. Something about this that could be annoying to you, and it's annoying to me, but I deal with it, is the formula is quite thick, and you have to kind of like warm it up a little bit to get it to come out of the tip. If this is something that you would want to wear out and about, this is really good for that, but I just don't want to over exfoliate my lips. So it's often something I'm just doing when I'm doing my makeup, which is why I would just get the clear one next time, because all I really do with it is put it on while I'm doing my makeup, wipe it off, and then put a different lip product on. I mean, I don't dislike having a colorful one, and the one that they sent me is clear, but it has sparkles in it. I don't use that one for prep because the sparkles will remain on my lips, which I don't really care about, but sometimes I'm putting on things that don't have additional sparkle, and then it just kind of is distracting. We're gonna start doing complexion products. I'm gonna pin up my hair real quick. Hair's out of the face, let's talk complexion products. So last year, my favorite face primer was the Victoria Beckham Cell Rejuvenating Priming Moisturizer, but after I made my favorites video last year, it was announced that they were discontinuing this, and they made a new formulation of this. This is the original formulation, and it is what I'm going to use today, and I'm going to say that it is my favorite primer. I've been having really good luck with primers recently. The one that I would say is probably going to replace it as my favorite, but then there's also one that might replace this as my favorite. I love all the primers I've been using recently, and I use them on different days for different reasons. The Trixie Cosmetics First Base Primer, they sent this to me in PR, has really blown me away as a primer. It really is a nice way to create a barrier between your skin and the makeup, and it does a little bit of like soft blurring, but this isn't the most moisturizing thing, so it's a little bit different than the Victoria Beckham in that way. But something a little more similar to Victoria Beckham, and I have like two versions of this, is the Ritual Defy Creature of Light. This is the one in Moonlit Creature. This has a bit of an iridescent glow to it that does actually show through the foundation. It's not like something that makes you look really crazy and iridescent, but it has a nice moisturizing feel to it, and then your skin has that awesome glow to it. The thing that I have found so far that is the closest to the original formulation of the Victoria Beckham primer, and I do want to give my audience credit for this, the Vive primer. This is the Skin Nova primer. Now, they did send this to me in PR, but I did buy it before I got it in PR. I had a little mini of it. I did a Vive review this year. You can check out the Vive review to see all of my thoughts, but they now have since sent me PR, and this is also a really beautiful product. These two, I think, are much closer to the experience of using the Victoria Beckham primer, but if you're on a budget and want something a little more cost effective, the Trixie primer is really gorgeous and does amazing work for the skin. But we're gonna stick with the Victoria Beckham, but next year, it's not gonna be on the list, so That'll be really weird for me. The reason I love this primer and have loved it for so many years, anyone who's watched my channel over the course of the last year or so will know that this is my favorite primer. And if you've watched for many years, you'll also know that it's my favorite primer. So it's like no surprise. It's just really moisturizing. I feel like it plumps my skin and gets it ready for foundation, but it's not like over hydrating where I feel like it really changes the finish of the foundation I'm putting on top of it. I think that glow adds a little bit of a soft focus blur to my skin. It's just really, really beautiful and I really like it. In some ways, I am happy that it was discontinued because this is a very expensive product and none of the alternatives I showed you are as expensive as that. And some of them are much cheaper and some of them are much cheaper per ounce. So that's all something to consider as well. I have like a category for like nose primer. It's the Sisley Blur Expert. It was the Sisley Blur Expert last year and it probably will be until I finish this. And I'm literally barely scratching the surface of it at this point. But I do have some issues with some foundations sticking to my nose. And since we're doing full glam, I don't mind doing the whole dang thing and, you know, primer, nose primer. But this is not something I actually recommend to you to buy as a nose primer. It's incredibly expensive. You might get more use out of it as an all over face primer and you might like it as a setting powder, but I didn't find value in it as a setting powder and kind of leaned into it being my nose primer. But you could probably use any powder to use as a nose primer. This is a powder that is like kind of sold as a primer / powder hybrid. So anything that you would think that could fit that kind of category would work just the same. And I also know a lot of people who use eyeshadow primer as a nose primer. So they're all alternatives to this, but this is just what I have and I use. So it's like something I'm like excited about using as a nose primer, but it is what I have as a nose primer. And you might not even have problems with makeup sitting on your nose. You might not even need a nose primer. Let's start getting into complexion products. Last year, I loved the Victoria Beckham Beauty Concealer and it has sustained. So this is the Victoria Beckham concealer in the shade FL1. I really like this because I don't feel like it has a lot of coverage, but I feel like it really wakes up my under eyes without feeling like really heavy. It's just a really effortless type of concealer and I really like it. It looks really beautiful all over the face, but it's quite expensive to put all over the face. Another thing I really like about this concealer is there's not like too much. I have found that less is more with most concealers. If you really put too much product on your face, it can really show on your under eyes, especially as you're getting older. I'm getting older. There's more things happening on my face. My face is moving around. The elasticity is different than it once was. And I just have found that like any kind of product that has like a really thick texture to it will get stuck in the crevasse under my eyes. And this one doesn't really do that. Like there are moments where I have done it, but I'd have to baby it much less than concealers that are really thick and have intense coverage. So this has really worked out for me. And also I like to take it on my cheek. My cheeks are normally kind of red, especially on the high points of them. And I just started a new retinol and I think we're kind of purging a little bit because it's a higher percentage of a retinol than I had been using. So I think we're gonna see that going on my face for a little bit. And it just covers gorgeously and looks really natural and skin-like, but also has a beautiful, not like wet look glow, but like enough glow to like counteract darkness on my under eye, but that wouldn't cover like intense dark circles, but it would add just a little bit of brightness to counteract that. It's a really beautiful formula. I can't sing its praises enough. It's really expensive and it has Augustinus Batter's like TCF 8, not the TCF 6 that is in the Dua Lipa formula, or TCF 5. I really don't know what the difference is. I don't know if that one's more affordable, but I don't wear the concealer every day, so I can't speak to its like skincare claims. We're to foundation. And surprise, surprise, it hasn't changed. It's still the SURRATT Dewdrop foundation. This year, a lot of good foundations and like, you know, flexing products have come into my life that I really think are giving this a run for its money, but it's still what I'm coming back to. So some honorable mentions for foundation: the Sarah Creel Face Flex, gorgeous all over the face, an incredible product. The Victoria Beckham foundation drops are another really good one. Surprisingly to me and everyone, the MPH foundation thing has really worked well for me. So a lot of things have worked really well for me this year. So there is a possibility that once I finish this, I might just move on to something else, more or less, because like I actually have a lot of complexion product right now. So I probably wouldn't run out to rebuy the SURRATT Dewdrop foundation immediately. I think I could go a while before I really start to miss it. But with the way that SURRATT is kind of quiet and hasn't released a product in nearly 2 years, a new product in nearly 2 years, I do worry a little bit about the longevity of SURRATT as a brand that we can buy from. But I mean, I have no insider tea on that. It's just one of those things. I love a foundation that has light coverage, but does a little soft focusing. And it kind of almost will look a little bit filter-like on the skin. And I think that's exactly what this does. And that's what a lot of the foundations I listed as honorable mentions also do. I have the shade 1.5 in this formula. It's also a really good match for me. Some of my matches on some of the other products I listed are not as good as this. So that's also another reason I really like this formula. And I have just found this really unfussy. It is called the Dewdrop Foundation, and that would like lead you to believe that maybe it will make your skin look really glowy, but I just think it looks like a healthy glow. I don't think it looks really wet, and it will set down and not look as shiny as it even does right there, but it's so beautiful. It has a nice like medium thickness of a texture that I find really workable. Sometimes if a foundation's really thin, I can feel like it's getting away from me. And then also if a foundation's really thick, I just don't really like applying that texture. I can make it work, but it's not my desired feeling. So a lot of my favorite complexion products are thin with a lot of impact. And this is just a little bit thicker than most of those formulas. Like if I'm thinking of the Sarah Creel Face Flex, it's a really thin formula. I was reviewing some old content to just make sure I know which products were my favorites of 2025. I was watching this video and I didn't know what complexion product I had on. And I was like, man, my skin looks so good. And I was wearing the Face Flex. But also every time I wear this in a video and I'm like reviewing old footage, I'm always like, what am I wearing? It's normally this, which is always a good sign. My skin is a little dry today. I think the heat has been kicking in a little bit more. So here's what my skin's looking like with those two products. Well, also in the primer down. Gorgeous, stunning. Whenever you're zoomed in, you can see more of the redness on my face, but when you're zoomed out, the luminosity, the soft blurring action looks like it has more coverage than it actually does. And I love that kind of stuff. I'm going to powder my under eyes. I've been doing this more recently is like I will powder my under eyes, and then if I'm using creams, I will do that on the rest of my face. So the under eye powder that I was using last year was the Charlotte Tilbury Under Eye Brightening Powder. If you've been watching my videos for the last few months, I think you'll know what it is. And this is actually a pretty significant change up, especially price-wise, going from the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Powder to this. And it is the Wet n Wild Pink Powder. Now, I have the Hello Kitty version, but rest assured that they make this product still. It's in just different packaging without the Hello Kitty marketing on it, but it is, as I have been told, the same formula as this. And it's just this beautiful, soft pink under eye powder. I do have some pink in my skin tone, and I also think that the soft pink in this formula really looks natural on my skin. It does a little bit of a pinkifying effect, but I only use this in the center of my face. So I press it in my under eyes and down the sides of my nose, and then also down the center of my nose. And then I also press it into the center of my forehead. It does an incredible job blurring my skin. I love blur. I don't know if you've caught on, if you happen to be new here and this is your first video of mine. I love a blur. I don't love thick silicone-y blur, but I love a blur that feels like it's very natural looking on the skin. Like soft Instagram filter, not full Instagram filter, but just like a soft Instagram filter look. I went from a product I think that's $50 to this, which I think is $6 or $7. 6, 7. Are we doing that as a mid-30-year-olds? Probably not. For contour, last year, my favorite was Intuition from Rituel Defee. This year, it's still Intuition from Rituel Defeat, but now I do a combo because Rituel Defeat did expand their contour line and added a couple of shades. And the next deepest shade is the shade Omen, and it works really well on my skin too. It has a little bit more warmth in it than Intuition does. So where I like to put that is actually like in my beard area to contour under my jaw. And because it's a little bit darker, has a little bit more presence. And I think it just does a better job there than Intuition does. But Omen also can look good on my face, but Intuition is much less perceptible on my actual cheekbone area. So I like to use Intuition here and then Omen on the rest of my face. My Intuition is in this pan. There's just very little left. Very well loved product. Has been my favorite contour for the last couple of years. I don't remember how long ago that contour video was, but that was what I bought it for, and it turned out to be really great. Again, this came from the suggestion of many of my subscribers. People were like, you just need to get on the Intuition bandwagon. Because I'm so fair and I have cool undertones, like I lean neutral cool, everything that is in the mass market, so like stuff you can find at Sephora or Ulta, almost all of it will pull orange or green when I apply it to my skin. But I think Intuition has a little bit of pink in it, and I think that is what makes it look really natural on my skin. But I have some friends who have some more golden olive undertones that Intuition doesn't work as well for them. But if you have like cool olive undertones, I've heard that it works for that. As I said, that's Intuition. Look, it did shape my face a little bit, but also like when I turn my head this way, it's not like there's a huge gray streak going on. I haven't really been doing it, but I've been loving seeing people with intense contour on these days. It really does something for me. It butters my biscuit quite a bit. Look at how healthy my skin looks. Oh, gorge. Even with the dryness I'm kind of experiencing right now. Okay, and now for Omen, I like to put it on my jawline. So I focus most of the pigment back here, and I do kind of like a V with it, and then I just blend out as much as I can, and I bring it down the jaw. The thing is, I always feel like if I do like a whole bit of contour all the way up my jawline, the place that's most visible is always kind of like right here, but I find if I bring a little bit of the product after it's applied up here down, it doesn't really do that as much. I also have found that since my hair is longer, more cheek products tend to make my face shape more of what I want. When my hair was shorter, the contour of the sides of my hair being shaved also contoured, you know, like it also was doing some contour. But I find that now that my hair's longer, when I have it down, I do tend to like a more intense contoured look. Look at how uneven that shave line is. Oops. We're gonna move on to bronzer. Now, for some reason, I like wrote all of this down. For some reason, I didn't write down what bronzer. So I'm gonna guess my favorite bronzer last year was the Gucci bronzer. And it has been dethroned by the Trixie Cosmetics Trixie Stix bronzer in the shade Sunkissed. Mine was getting really down to the bottom, and I have been on a depotting journey for a lot of my makeup, not all of my makeup. I don't really want to do it with eyeshadow palettes, but I have found with face products, it has helped me to be able to see all of them just in one place to know what I want to use. So this is my bronzer collection right now, and I have the Trixie Stix right here. The thing about this that is really interesting is that it was a product I was really skeptical of when I was buying it. I did a Trixie first impressions video early on in the year, and it was like all self-funded, and this was the standout product for me. The shade of it just seems like it's gonna be so wrong. I don't like orange bronzer. This looks orange, like it looks orange, but there's something magical about when I tap it into my skin, it all of a sudden looks really natural. And so I'm wondering if some of that oranginess is like a beige that blends into my skin. This just adds the perfect amount of warmth for me and my skin tone. I would love, and I've said this many times in my videos, and you've probably heard it, if they had a shade this depth that had a little bit more of a rosy finish, I think it would look even more natural on my skin. But this just has such a gorgeous finish. The thing that I've heard a lot of other people talk about that reminds me what I get out of this, that Makeup by Mario's Skin Enhancer Cream Bronzer. I tried that before and I didn't get much out of it. Like I didn't really care for it. I actually returned it. I said I just like simply don't get it. This does that for me. So like this is my version of it. You get a fair amount of product, but I don't think a found a product that feels unusable, because I bought this earlier this year. I'm probably going to finish it by early next year, means that I got a whole year out of it, but I did use it. It was just the bronzer I kept choosing to use. And it was a real shock. I haven't loved cream bronzers historically. Like, I liked a lot of the ones I've tried, but like nothing ever like sung to something like this. This has been my favorite bronzer all year. Anyone in the comment section can attest to that if you happen to be new to my videos. I've just been using it all year. I think it's $16, which is a great price. And it's from an indie brand, which is also very cool. But that makes me very happy. I just love that that has like where the cards have fallen for me this year. I still love the Gucci bronzer. And I also have a couple of other bronzers I didn't have last year. I have Grisaille from SURRATT. And I also have what is supposed to be a blush from the brand Excel, which is a Japanese beauty brand. Also love that product too. But Sunkissed was such a banger and a surprise for me this year. So I'm so pleased that that is how things worked out. And I do want to just be honest, I did buy my Trixie Stix bronzer. I bought mine, but because of that video I did, I was put on the brand's PR list. So it became my favorite before I was really could be persuaded by being on their PR list. For blush last year, my favorite blush was Kjaer Weiss's Inner Glow, and mine actually turned. I was wearing Inner Glow a lot last year because I was trying to pan it. Because it was really close, I had a lot of pan in it, and I kept having to scooch it in the middle. But one day I opened up my cream blushes, and it was stinky, and I was like, that one's the oldest. I bet it's that one. And it sure was. So I have since had to dispose of my Inner Glow. While I love Inner Glow and I would love to have it again at some point down the line, I don't need it because I have a beautiful blush collection that I can pay attention to that now that that one's gone. And I have a new blush that was actually new to me this year that is reigning supreme. I also have depotted all of my cream blushes, and it is this one right here. This is Plume from PHYTOSURGENCE. They released it kind of relatively recently this year. I would say like maybe in the summertime Plume was released. Anyway, it is a little bit lighter than their shade Condensate, which I also have and love. It's this nice mauve color, but it looks really natural on my skin tone. Again, that fair pink neutral. Sometimes things can just pull orange or green on me, and that also happens with blushes, but Plume is like the perfect little kiss of mauviness on my cheek without being too much. Now, I love a heavy, dense, bruisey mauve cheek as well, but this one is just that kind of blush that I can throw on with almost any look, and it looks really organic on my skin, and I love it for that. Another reason I really love the PHYTOSURGENCE formula, it's really unfussy, and it's really controllable. You can put it on top of powder, you can put it under powder, you can do it however you want to do it, and it will respond in kind. It'll do exactly what you want it to. Some of the darker shades that are meant for people with deeper skin, I really like using them. I do have to baby a little bit how much I'm putting on, so I don't really go overboard. But this is how Plume looks on me. That light, bruisey quality is just perfection for me. This side I feel like needs a little more. I am going to be using a powder highlighter. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to powder the rest of my face. So my favorite powder last year, I didn't feel like I was 100% committed to the powder I chose last year. It was just the powder I had. Powder is both a category that very much excites me and also that I find agonizing to push through to like get to it. I really did enjoy the Hourglass Vanish Pressed Powder. It was gorgeous. It worked well for me. However, this year I got so into loose powder, as you saw with the Wet n Wild powder. Like last year I was like, ugh, press powders all the way. I literally can't be arsed to like put a loose powder on. And I fell in love with loose powder. And unfortunately, I still had this in my makeup collection and I didn't declutter it. Something about the old formulation of the Givenchy powder just really started hitting for me this year, which is, again, unfortunate. They discontinued that. I don't know if did they discontinue this last year or early this year? And it's been quite the journey for a lot of people to try to find a replacement for. Luckily, I did not get dragged into being one of those people because I just can't be bothered to be the one searching for a powder. This, I don't know if it's like my skin like aged and dried out a little bit, and that is what made my skin react to this a little bit better. But like, yeah, it's beautiful. It's blurring. I get why all of the people are mourning the loss of this powder. It is really lovely. It sets really well. It also has pretty good longevity, even if you're just sleeping it on your face. Everything about it is just lovely. I am sad that they no longer make this formulation. I know it's because the talc in it, and talc has been a big topic of conversation these days. But I did see recently that Armani's Luminous Silk is getting either reformulated or discontinued because there's an ingredient in there that is getting banned in the EU. And so it was a TikTok, so I don't know how true any of this is. So take everything I'm about to say with a grain. But it seems like a lot of cosmetics have this one ingredient in it. So we might see a ton more stuff reformulated so people can continue selling in the EU. I love the fact that the EU really seems to care about the well-being of people. I would like for them to continue to care about the American market. So I can still buy it. And then also people abroad can get it. Hopefully they could be able to import it unless it became like so illegal that you can't import it. God, international shipping has been such a topic of conversation this year, especially in the cosmetic industry. I am extra, so I do have a finishing powder I really like, and it's still the Chantecaille Perfect Blur finishing powder. I've been working on this for 4 years and it's still not done. Now, I had a lot of pan in its original packaging, but I de-potted it. And I'm just going to press that into the areas of my face that have the biggest pores, just to give more of an airbrush finish. Oof. Last year, my favorite highlighter was the Torch Lumiere in the shade Diamante from SURRATT. Still a highlighter I really love, but it was a highlighter I was loving leading up to doing my favorites video last year, but I didn't know if it was going to really seal the deal. And it's HINDASH's highlighter in the shade Liluna. All three of the highlighters for HINDASH are beautiful. I also have Doll Dynasty, very gorgeous. And all three of them, well, I can't speak to the deepest one, I haven't tried it, but both Doll Dynasty and Liluna are really great because this is cool toned, but not so icy that it reads like really stark on the skin. As I've been saying this whole video, I have like cool leaning undertones to my skin. And so this would probably look really natural on me anyway, even if it was a stark white. But I think that this can flex to people who have slightly warmer undertones because it isn't white. Like if you do a very thick swatch of it, you can see it on my finger. My hands are really dry, so I apologize for the way that they look. But you can see that it is cool, but it's also got some beige in it to really balance it out and not read on the skin as if I have just put on something pure white, which is what a lot of brands do for like a cool toned highlighter. It's like, oh, you want it to be like an icy, maybe even slightly bluish silver white? Got it. This is not that at all. And depending on how heavy-handed you are, you can get something that's really gorgeous and built up and very blinding, but you can also get something very demure and just brings some life to your cheeks, which is what I've done today. A beautifully stunning product. I've loved it since I got it, but last year I wasn't ready to commit. But this year I am. Okay, I'm going to take my hair down because we're going to move on to eye products, which I honestly probably should have started with. I didn't. So we're just going to have to live with our decisions. I say it all the time, but in case this is your first video of mine, I'm not a big fan of eyeshadow palettes. I like them, and I'm so happy that that is a category that is a lot of people's favorite category of makeup. I really like more simple eye looks these days, and I can do a lot of really what I want to do with one eyeshadow. Now, I definitely still have eyeshadow palettes that I really love and enjoy. And also keep in mind and remember that this is my favorite, not necessarily like the eyeshadow that I'm wearing the most. It was the same last year, and it continues to be Mink from Victoria Beckham. This is a beautiful taupe that has a warm base and a silver sheen on top. And I think that warm brown color at the bottom that maybe even also can kind of look orange really makes my green eyes pop and makes them look really green. And then that silver sheen brings it back to something that I like to wear. I don't really love warm tones, and I think the combo, the 1-2 punch in the shade of Mink, really does everything I need it to. Also, it's just a beautiful eyeshadow formula. It's in this beautiful like pressed potted situation. It like isn't a cream, but it kind of feels like a cream. It is just really beautiful, and I really, really love it. Honestly, just doing this all over the lid gives me exactly what I want. So when you apply it with a brush and you don't do a finger swatch of it, which is I feel like how most people see it for the first time, when you do it with a brush, you get a more sparkle finish. When you do a finger swatch, you get a more metallic looking finish, which is also really beautiful. But I prefer this smoky, sultry, sparkly look. Like the easiest smoky eye I've ever done. So beautiful. I also have now a very nice dip going in that, and that makes me very happy. I do like the lid lusters overall, but I think Mink is the best one. So if you're not interested in the shade Mink, I don't know if you like this finish. I don't think the other ones really live up to the look of this. I'm gonna zoom you in so you can just get a closer look at the finish of it. So beautiful. Let's move on to eyeliner. And there's no news here. The Victoria Beckham Satin Kajal liners. My collection grew by 2 this year. It was a couple of the sequin shades, and that is weird to me because I did have the sequin green shade and it was really beautiful, but I never used it. I bought the sequin black, which is like Night Flash is the name of it. And I also bought Coco Pave thanks to a very kind gift card that was gifted to me by a subscriber. So thank you to the subscriber who did wish to remain anonymous for that. Love Coco Pave. I need to feature it soon. It's really gorge. But for the waterline today, I'm going to use Coco. Look at how used up this is. We're really getting to the bottom of this. I need to sharpen it a little. Yeah, I think I'll replace it immediately. I use it a lot. Clearly I do. It's the first eyeliner I've gotten this much use out of. Like, I just feel like I don't use eyeliner as much as some people because I very rarely actually put it on the lash line. I'm almost exclusively putting it on my waterline. However, I have been putting the sequin shades on my lash line and they've been really gorge. I like this formula because you get instant pigment. There's no rubbing back and forth. Even if I do put it on my lash line, there's no tugging and it just has the most seamless application. I get really great longevity out of it in the waterline, on the lash line. It's just such a beautiful product. I think as I'm getting older, just within the last couple of years, I have just really appreciated things not tugging on my skin. And I have found that a lot of crayon eyeliners, gel eyeliners will really like to pull on the eyelids, and I don't love that. It makes me... So that's Coco from Victoria Beckham, but it's just that actual eyeliner formula has really worked well for me. I also saw on TikTok, again, take it with a grain of salt, that there's only actually a couple places that actually manufacture eyeliners, and like every brand gets their eyeliners from these like select few manufacturers that like also make colored pencils, which I think is kind of cool. It was one of those moments where I was like, oh, that's really cool. And I was like, I don't even know if it's true, but it feels fun. Let's talk about mascara. Again, no news here. It's the SURRATT Releve mascara. It's a tubing mascara that has fibers in it. Fibers aren't for everyone, and I totally get that, but this works all summer for me, and it also looks gorgeous in the winter. Up until I found this mascara, it felt to me like I had to have a summer mascara and a winter mascara. The summer mascara would like not budge, but wouldn't always look the way I wanted to, and then my winter mascara would give me the look I wanted, but it was more prone to smudging. But this is a totally happy medium. I feel like it gives me the drama to my lashes that I want, and I think the fibers are due to that, but if you have sensitive eyes, I know that fibers can be really bothersome in that way. It just wears really beautifully on my lashes. I used to do more regular posts on Instagram close up, and the only time I would ever get compliments on my lashes would be when I was wearing this mascara, and it has just stood the test of time. I tested some other mascaras this year that were really nice, but nothing dethroned it, and because I wasn't super impressed with any of those, I just went back to it. So I still have it in my collection. I have a promo code for SURRATT. It's HOTE15 if you ever want to buy anything from them. I have a couple favorites from them, of course, as you're seeing throughout this video. And they also offer a myriad of other beautiful products if you want to check them out. I'm going to remove the EADEM lip balm, and then we'll talk other lip products. It was a really big year for lip liners. I was sent quite a few lip liner formulas in PR. I also bought a few lip liner formulas this year to try. And last year, my favorite lip liner formula was the one from Makeup Forever, their watercolor crayon things that are really popular, and I really love the shade Endless Cacao. And Endless Cacao is a cool toned brown. However, I found even more cool toned browns that have a little more gray and a little more purple in them. And so my favorite that I tried this year, and this is so funny because I give this brand so much shit, is the Isamaya lip liner in the shade Liberica. I, first of all, love that it is a wooden pencil. It's my preferred lip liner kind of situation. The formula is soft, but not too soft. Not so firm that it drags on my lips and I feel like it's tugging on them. It's an incredible lip liner. And I also think that Isomea really honed in the colors here. As much as it pains me to give the brand a compliment, I do think she did really do her big one with this. It also doesn't set immediately. It gives me time to blur it out. I really like it. I bought it when I was in Chicago with Cam. So before I talk about my favorite lip product, I do want to preface this with that I don't wear lipstick very often. So I do want to give a shout out to Maub's lipstick. This is in the shade M102, and I had an incredible love affair with this at the beginning of the year. It's an incredible, weird, nude lip color, and I do like to wear it. If I am going to wear a lipstick, this is often the one I'm going to wear. But I'm much more of a lip gloss girly. And last year, my favorite lip gloss was from Isomea, and it was the Lip Lock in Metal. Still really love this product. I still think it's incredibly unique, and I don't think a lot of brands do it like this. I liked a lot of what I tried from Maub, but none of it really blew me out of the water, but their lip products did. And this wasn't even in my original Maub review, but I did try it later in the year, and these are their lip glosses. Now, the packaging, awful. 0 out of 10. I really hate the packaging. It says paper packaging. Their whole thing is sustainability. So like, I really can't blame them for that because I think they're achieving that with this. This is the Maub lip gloss in the shade Diamond Star Halo. It's a very similar effect to the Isomea Lip Lock in the shade Metal. It's a little less sparkle, and it doesn't have like a slight grayness to it in the base, which I think the Isomea one does. I pulled out Dark Star. I want Diamond Star Halo. This is Diamond Star Halo. There's no base in this. The Lip Lock from Isomea has a little bit of a base to it, so it's not just purely silver sparkle. This is purely sparkle. And there's no plumping agent in it. And I don't mind a lip plumper, but I have found myself liking it less this year. So I really have liked the Diamond Star Halo shade. And then for setting spray, last year my favorite setting spray was the MAC Fix Plus setting spray. And I do still love Fix Plus, but it has been dethroned this year from this. From Trixie Cosmetics. This is their All The Way setting spray. They did send this to me in PR. And this has replaced the All Nighter for me, but it also does all the things that I like about Fix Plus, but adds more longevity. Fix Plus is more of like a finishing spray. It like helps, you know, set powders and stuff like that and make them look less powdery on your skin. But this also adds a little bit of beautiful longevity to the product. This is not something I would really use to cement in my makeup, but it is something that I would wear to like work and stuff. It's not really like here to like do miracles. It has a soft peach scent to it, which I don't mind. I actually quite like it. And it's just a really beautiful, it's a beautiful setting spray. And that, my friends, is my current favorite makeup of all time, a full face of it. I hope you enjoyed it. Before you leave, make sure you like and hype this video. Subscribe if you're not already. Make sure you check out that pinned comment to help those people in need. And that, my friends, is going to wrap up this day of MESSMAS. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to follow your hoe, and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. It's out.